there are processes that we can do in certain areas of life that can help blow off blocks that we have potentially created for ourselves in our field. As a perfect example, if you were growing up and you saw your parents say money is hard to make, and they were always struggling to make ends meet, it became very apparent to you as a child that money is hard to make. So then you put that out there in a moment and you said, this is true. It's hard to make money. And so then we take that memory, that moment, that block, and we carry it with us throughout our whole lives without realizing that it's running in the background and creating all of our experiences going forward.
Awesome. Welcome to the podcast, Elizabeth. First off, I want to say thank you so much for being my guest. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. So, before I get started, I want to share a little bit about Elizabeth. She is a real estate agent. She works with investors in the residential area, the commercial area, as well as I know I'm forgetting which another one. Which one am I forgetting again?
Family, residential is
Family.
good.
Exactly. And she also has a yoga program out for entrepreneurs to help them find balance and calmness within the life of an entrepreneur. Because we all know it's fun. It has its ups, it has its downs, and it's just fun. And we got to find that one balance that brings us back to earth. And that is what Elizabeth has. So if you guys are interested, please go to her Instagram. And do you have a YouTube channel?
Not yet.
Not yet. So I'll link below down her Instagram and you guys can go to her page and check her out. So, yeah. That being said, we are here today to talk about money processes. First off, before we get started, what is a money process? Let's see. Elizabeth, what is a money process from your perspective?
Oh, thank you, Shawnee. It's very broad question, and there's a lot of different ways that it can be described. The way that I'll describe it in this moment is there are processes that we can do in certain areas of life that can help blow off blocks that we have potentially created for ourselves in our field. As a perfect example, if you were growing up and you saw your parents say money is hard to make, and they were always struggling to make ends meet, it became very apparent to you as a child that money is hard to make. So then you put that out there in a moment and you said, this is true. It's hard to make money. And so then we take that memory, that moment, that block, and we carry it with us throughout our whole lives without realizing that it's running in the background and creating all of our experiences going forward. So to answer your question, what is a money process? This is something that a shared mentor that you and I have, KevinTrudeau, he releases these processes for us to go through. And he has the ability to go within our field and blow out on all levels and all dimensions these blocks that we could potentially have that's making it harder for us to succeed and create money or something that it is that we want in life.
Beautifully well said. I know when I was younger, the phrase was money doesn't grow on trees. So definitely feel you on that one. All right. So thank you for sharing what a money process is. With that being said, I want to hear a little bit about your story. I have my notes because I need to know what I'm talking about. Um, all right, let's go back to not too far. I want to keep this short and sweet. But before money process, what was life like before you made the decision to get a money process?
Before the money processes, I had already started on my journey of self-growth and development. I began to work with my mind and grow and expand my mind to think differently. So I had these potential avenues open. I knew that a different life was available, but I didn't know how to get it. And I didn't even know that I had these potential blocks in my field. So I wasn't creating. I didn't have the desire to create because I didn't resonate with money.
Mm,
I always thought my journey started as a spiritual journey because I was like, what's the point of even focusing on the material world if I know that it's just an illusion? Like, let me just go straight to the spiritual path. That's what I did. And then at some point, I was sitting down and I'm like, I'm living in bliss and peace, but I can barely pay my bills. So that was a very harsh reality. I had to almost take two steps backwards to go forwards. I had to reevaluate and say, okay, maybe the money isn't the happiness, but it's easier to be happy and fulfilled when I don't have to worry about paying my bills.
right, right. Definitely. You don't have to pay your bills. When they're all said and done and they're on automatic on that one card, it feels that life is just so much more easier. Definitely agree. And then before the money process, so right before the money process is talk about when you made that decision to get a money process, when you became aware that they were available. What was that experience like?
I was very excited, to say the least, when I found out that they existed. And it's very interesting because I was almost, our mentor, again, he mentions that when he started, he would always try to put a round peg in a square hole,
Mhm.
try to make things happen by force, make things happen in that way, but it takes more effort and energy to do it. And so that's what I was doing before the money processes. I had actually gotten my real estate license right before I decided to go do the money processes. Yeah, and it felt very forced because I wasn't coming from the right energy.
Mhm.
And then I went through the money processes, and the week after I had my first money process, my first real estate deal went pending.
Oh,
The
wow.
week after I got back. Yeah, it was
Nice.
incredible.
Awesome. So let's go more into the money processes. When your first money process, what what feeling and what did you experience feeling wise within yourself? Like
With
right
the
after,
first one.
yeah, with the very first one. What did you feel?
Hmm. It was very interesting. I really appreciate with the processes that Kevin, when he goes through it, he speaks to your analytical mind, and then he also, because he can blow out the energy without even speaking to our analytical mind. But then we may think and get in our heads that it didn't actually work. So then he speaks to the analytical mind to get us to understand what's going on, and that can have the impact stronger. It can make what he's doing actually stronger. So I remember hearing him talk about the first money process and, what he does during the first money process. And it blew my mind. My analytical mind, I was like, wow, and it resonated as true. And then the feelings that I had in my body, it was I felt more clear,
Hmm.
more open and interested in creating.
Mm, interesting. I like how you said you felt that. Did you feel that right away, or was that like later on, a couple days or a couple weeks later?
I think I'm sure it's different for everyone. For me, it was in the moment.
Okay.
It was, yeah, it was in the moment. It was magical for me.
Definitely for me, I was in a daze. Usually when I travel to an event, it's like I'm an observer. So I barely talk. I'm barely doing any talking. All I'm doing is walking around observing everything, whether it's buildings, cars. Like I've been to LA a lot of times, but that particular day when I went, it felt like I've never been before. So right after the processes is like, okay, what did I just do? I don't know. Let's just be in the moment. Let's just be here. And I didn't feel the effects of what actually happened at the money processes until 3 to 4 days later while I was at home. So it's very interesting that like you said, we do definitely have different experiences.
Yeah. So
Very,
what you're saying is initially you felt like you were seeing through different eyes.
I'm learning that right now that it's from the movie What the Bleep Do We Know? It's definitely, it felt like that. It felt like I wasn't me, but I was me, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And I was just observing life. I was sitting back as like, oh, this is what life is. Okay, this is good food. Oh, they're experiencing this. These people just got off of work. They're having a beer. I was just observing everything around me. It was really, really cool. Really, really cool.
You know, the picture that's in my mind right now is whenever you have a photo on your phone and then you go to edit it, the lighting and everything, and there's that button that just says auto.
Hmm.
It's almost like that's what the processes do to you. You just press that auto button and then life lightens up. Everything gets more bright and more colorful because we begin to see things that we didn't see before.
Literally, it's a very cool experience, which is why that's why I want to do this because I want people to feel and experience their own version of what we're talking about.
Mm,
It's really cool. So
amazing.
at, after the money process, during the money process, you said you felt it right away and you got a deal pending. So when did you get a money process? Like what year? What year was that?
I got my first two. So I've had six money processes total. I got my first two in November of 2024.
Okay.
And as we're talking right now, it's August of 2025.
Mhm.
And yeah, those two were incredible. And I will say, when we go through the processes, we know that they're exponential. So the first one is the most important one, and Kevin addresses that everything is basically turning backwards, and so then that rewrites it to go forwards. Like you say, you want money, so you think you're going this way towards money, but when you say you want it, you're actually going backwards because of the habits and the postulates and the programs that you have.
Mhm.
So then when you go to number two, it's way stronger than number one. Number three is way stronger than one and two combined, and then it just keeps growing exponentially from there. So I guess depending on the person, depending on their own experiences and just their own way of processing, everyone experiences the process is different at each one. So my first two were very strong, potent. And then three, four, and five, I didn't feel so much. And then number six was like, wow.
I remember hearing Kevin say that there will be some that you don't feel because you are fine on those ones. Probably using not the correct words, but you're fine. But the ones that you notice a feeling, that's what you needed to be worked on. And I could definitely say the first process was one that literally he knocked me out. I literally was falling asleep and I'm like, wait, he lost me. And I wasn't sure if it was the amount of energy he was producing or if it was a word that I got hung up on and I didn't know and I just fell asleep or I just like it just went in through one ear and out the other. So I would say definitely the first one was I like the word that you used potent. It was very strong. And then the second one, it was like the what I'm getting is it was like a breath of fresh air. It's like woo. I have no idea how to explain it. It's the way the process number two felt is ineffable. It was just, and it was like, oh, I'm done. But definitely the first money process was very, very strong, and it's the most important one. Got to change the reversals.
Yeah.
And I
And
want,
Shawnice, I really admire, I just want to say I really admire what you're doing because a lot of people they may say that they want a different life or different experiences
mhm,
or even just have a sense of security and not have to worry about their bills. And maybe what they say that they want is true, but they don't even know that something like this exists.
Right.
So what you're doing is you're opening up a potential avenue for someone to say, "Oh, this might resonate with me. This might help me move forward in my life." And I will say, like, I didn't know about this stuff.
Exactly.
And so we are lucky and blessed, and everyone has to make the decision on their own. They know what's best for them, but even for you to be sharing this with other people is really amazing.
Thank you so much for that. You're adding in more energy to the fire already. Thank you. Awesome. So back to your story. So you have the first two, you have the six, and and you got your first one in November 2024. What is life like now?
Oh, wow. I see opportunities everywhere. I am in no shortage of money opportunities, money making opportunities. They exist everywhere.
Mhm.
Now I'm to a point where I get to choose which ones I want. Beforehand, I was like, oh, whatever's handed to me, basically, I'll take it. If I have to go clean a real estate house for $100, I'll go do that. And now I'm to a point where it's like, okay, $100, that's going to take me 2.5 hours. That's not worth my time.
Mm,
And that's a very small example, but just putting it into perspective, I have an ability to say, okay, I have this is my radar screen. I have all of these opportunities on my radar screen. I don't even know what's off the radar screen. So it's incredible. I mean, life has really opened up in miraculous ways, and I've only done six. That's what's incredible.
Do you find that with all these opportunities, do you find yourself getting a little bit overwhelmed with all the opportunities?
That's a good question. I think it could potentially be. I feel like I have a lot of mind training to where if I begin to feel overwhelmed, I just have to take a step back and clarify, okay, what do I want? Remind myself what I want, what is my ideal scene, and kind of go through those steps to clarify and say, does this fit? Does this opportunity fit?
Right. And that's exactly where I was going for. I noticed that actually I had a different experience. Before the money processes, I've had the experience that you had was there were so many opportunities and it's like, oh, I need to, like you said, I need to take this one because it's there now. And then once I learned a little bit more information within the club that we're both in, I learned a little bit more information of does this align with your goal? Does this align with who you are and where you're trying to go? So it became a much easier to figure out which opportunity should I go for at that moment. And I would say after the money processes, I almost have to create that need and that urge to make money because I have there's no attachment to it anymore. There's this thought that's like, oh, I don't need it. If I make it, I make it. If I don't, I know. So now I have to create that fire, create that pain to where I need to make money, to where I need to go out like, no, this is what I want. This is aligned with my dreams. Now I need to go make that happen. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, I had that this morning. Um, let's see. So we talked about your before the money process, during the money process, and then also where you're at now. Um, let's go with what would you like to share with everyone? If people want to come and get in contact with you, and want to know what projects you're working on, um, would you please share that so that they know where to go? And yeah.
Yeah, so again, I am a real estate agent in Indiana, and Indiana was listed number two state to invest in 2024, right below New York. And so there's a lot of opportunity here for investors if anyone's interested in investing in the city. I do mostly retail and multifamily. And then outside of real estate, I'm creating an online business for yoga programs. So I've been practicing yoga for 7 years. And in this time, I have learned how to regulate my own system so that I can continue to show up every single day because I have really big dreams.
Mm,
And so if it is to be, it's up to me. I have to be the one to show up every single day, even when my energy feels lower. Yoga allows me to regulate myself so that I can still show up. So I have been my own case study for the last 7 years, and now I'm in a point where I'm ready to share that with other people. And so that's mostly what I do online outside of real estate. And I have this Return to Ready program. It's a 15-day program that I'm creating right now. And it's specifically for people who are high performers, ambitious, big dreams. They have to work or want to work 8, 10, 12, 14 hours a day, and they have their vessel has to be able to support that. So that is on Instagram and it's under my name, Elizabeth Strahla.
awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And then
Of course,
one
thank
last
you.
question to end it all off. For the person who is curious and wants to know, should they do a money process? What is one thing you could share with them to maybe tip them towards a little bit going forward towards it?
If you're if you're listening to this, if you've gotten this far in the video, it's not by happenstance. I mean, this is something that you're willing, you're choosing, you're interested in. I mean, this is a potential avenue for anyone who's ready to receive this training, this information. I will say that there's nobody that has regretted doing these processes because it improves everyone, no matter where you begin, it improves you in some way. So if it's something that someone is considering, then yeah, just do one. Just do one and see how that impacts you in your life. It's very, very powerful training and process. On
Awesome.
top of that, you get access to how many hundreds of pages of self-image lessons and money lessons? And those are reading courses that you go through and you do more processes in the courses. I mean, your self-concept is changing. I mean, there's so many amazing benefits to just one money process.
Mhm.
So I definitely encourage and recommend it. It's changed my life.
And it's changed my life as well. Awesome. Once again, Elizabeth, I want to say thank you so much for being my guest on today's podcast. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing day and you keep creating the life that you want.
Thank you, Shanice. Take care.